have to make time for Marc Zell in Jerusalem, who may hold history in his hands if he can mobilize some of the 500,000 Americans living in Israel, many of whom are qualified to vote in swing states. No pressure, Marc. Just update us with hard numbers on how many have voted. Take the screen, my friend Marc.
Well, thanks, Ed, and thanks to everybody listening this evening. I just came back from another 12-hour day of helping our voters get their envelopes into to all the states in the union. Literally every state is represented, and including large numbers of voters from key swing states like Pennsylvania and Michigan. We also have voters in Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. And it's been the response has been absolutely phenomenal. Really, it's almost a 24-hour-a-day task to keep everybody informed and help them out to deal with these very complicated procedures that vary from state to state. But the numbers are staggering. We have done the equivalent of 300,000 door knocks. Okay, we can't really knock on the doors here because they're scattered all over the country. But what we do is contact them digitally, and we put ads on television, and we got a big billboard. You may have seen it, Edwin, on the Ayalon freeway in the center of Tel Aviv. It's just been amazing and entirely. I mean, I haven't met a single one of the people that we were in touch with that are voting for anybody other than Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. And that includes Arab American voters who are registered in Michigan who are living in the Galilee in places like Shfaram and in Isufia. And they're voting for Trump. So all I can say is the word from here, Edwin, is very positive. We're looking like early voting in places like Nevada and Arizona. We are, of course, about finished our voting here, Edwin, because we've got to get our ballots in at the end of this week if they're going to be reaching their destination before November 5th. So that's something that's taken a lot of time. We got a lot of great people are working here all over the country. I've got to thank them for their tremendous contribution. And all I can say is we are waiting for November 5th, and hopefully the states will not play around with our votes. We got some troublesome news from Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a real problem in terms of overseas voting. And I just understand today that Pennsylvania Supreme Court just ruled against the overseas ballots, which are not signed properly on the secrecy envelope, which is completely at odds with what all the election officials have been telling us for the past several weeks. So, and I understand that's going to be in front of the U.S. Supreme Court tomorrow when the Pennsylvania voting issues are brought up there. So, in any case, it's a lot going on. We're optimistic, and we're really pleased with the turnout.
All right. So, look, Marc, first of all, I noticed that your background is outer space. And most people know that it's a local call from Jerusalem to heaven, but I didn't know it was that high up. So where are these ballots physically? I mean, where are the places? Do people have to line up at the embassy to cast their ballot? How does it work?
Yeah, the embassy has been a real disappointment. In years past, voters could actually go to the embassy and cast their ballots. Here, it's confusion. They bring the ballots to the embassy. Usually security guards pick up the ballots. We don't know what happens to them. So we're not encouraging people to vote at the embassy, particularly given the fact that the embassy is under the control of the Biden administration, the Democrats. So what happens is that people are sending their ballots in with travelers going back to the States, and they're sending them in. In some states, you can vote electronically. States like California and Florida, you can vote by fax. Places like Arizona and Nevada and Colorado, you can vote online, actually. In other places, you have to mail your votes in. And that's a big problem because of the war, Edwin. The mail service is not reliable. So we're using some creative ideas to help people overcome the dysfunctional mail service here in Israel. Particularly given the fact that the only airline flying is El Al, and they can't carry all the ballots. So we've worked around that problem, and the thousands of Israeli votes have already, including mine. I'm voting in Maryland, which is a blue state. My vote we got it to the United States through one of these creative measures. Arrived in Maryland, and it's been counted, and we're going to hear that. We're hearing that's happening around the United States. In Florida, for example, that's happening. In Pennsylvania,
Okay, so
it's
Mark,
not happening. Yeah.
Mark, I got some friends in Los Angeles who are going to buy me lunch if you can report some good numbers. So tell me, what are the hard numbers?
Well, it's really hard for us to say, Edwin, because on the only numbers I know are the thousands of votes that have come through us that we are recording. The envelopes, that is. We don't know what people are actually voting, but it's clear that they're all voting for Trump, and based on their conversations that we have with them. They're also coming through other sources that we don't have access to. But based on our door knocking and our follow-up, we're talking probably in the vicinity of 250 or 300,000 votes. And they're coming about 12% in Pennsylvania, a similar number in Michigan. And then, of course, we have a lot of votes in blue
So what
states.
was that final number that you estimated just now?
Yeah, I think it's not a final number, but it's an estimate. About 250,000 to 300, about 250,000 is our estimate at the moment, based on our number, and about 12% in Pennsylvania and 12% in Michigan.
Okay, fine. Mark, thank you very much. Keep doing what you're doing. And I know from you and your friends, you are working day and night.